Hey guys, welcome back to the week-long pumpkin making for the first week of fall. Today is day 2 and we are going to be Mod Podging Dollar Tree pumpkins. So this pumpkin is actually one that I got at the thrift stores. It's just a 50-cent. You can see it has like lights, it had lights in it or something, and we're just gonna Mod Podge this and make some fun pumpkins. This would be a cute one for a little girl's room, the blues and the pinks. This is one that I did get at the Dollar Tree, and it's got the burlap on it, and so we're just going to take that burlap off and start Mod Podging. So if you find yourself some pieces of paper, scrapbooking paper, the 12 by 12 squares, regular size squares, we're going to tear all of it up so it doesn't really make too much difference what size it is. I thought it'd be really fun to do one in music, so if you can print off like pages of music, or if you have some old piano music laying around or something. But let's go ahead and get started. Here we go. Just take your piece of paper and go ahead and, and just tear it into strips. And I like to have that white exposed on it, so as I tear, I just plan on one side being the side that's exposed and the other side being the one that gets covered up. So that's just kind of what we'll do with our entire paper. I do want to show you that it gets a little bit tricky if you try to start in the middle of a piece of paper. Like say you want to go here and tear a little bit more off. You start to get kind of goofy tears in it, or they're not real even tears. So not too big of a deal. You can kind of fix it, but it's better to kind of tear. See how you get those edges. They're they kind of look cool. You can rough them up a little bit, but I try to do full strips all at once, and then we can tear those down from there to make them smaller. So it took that one sheet of paper to do about 2/3 of the pumpkin, I'd say. Not quite, a little over half the pumpkin. So it's going to take about 2 12 by 12 pieces of paper to do one of these larger foam pumpkins. And I'm hoping I can do this little tiny one with just one single 12 by 12 square of paper. So kind of the plan. That one we probably just won't use the end of. So you can get your Mod Podge at Walmart, and I like to get the matte finish so it doesn't have a shine to it. But I also saw that you can start getting Mod Podge at the Dollar Tree as well. So that or Hobby Lobby if you wait until you use your 40% off coupon. In case you guys don't know, you can always go online and go to Hobby Lobby online and get a 40% off coupon and print that off and take it with you to the store. Or just, they can scan it right there at the store for you too if you just pull it up right online in the store. I don't very often pay full price for a lot of things at Hobby Lobby just because they either do the 50% off, it seems like about once a month on different groups of things, or you can use that 40% off coupon. Most things besides Cricut accessories, they never seem to go on sale too much. But this is kind of where we started and started going around this way, and I do recommend that you do half of it and let that partially dry so that you can kind of hold on to that as you continue to go around and do the other half. But just work your way around. That was the part that doesn't have the white tear on it, and I want that white tear to be exposed, so I'm going to start on this one. Get the pumpkin covered nicely. And then we're going to use this chunk of paper. It looks like it'll fit pretty well on there. I'm going to tear that top off of it. We won't need that. And then do plan to get messy when you're doing this. It's kind of difficult to keep it clean. So if you want to wear gloves, otherwise it takes a little while to wash it off your hands, but it washes. Just takes a little longer. Oops. And you just want to make sure as that comes down that it covers that last piece of paper when you're going down. Kind of hold that there and press it into the seam because you want to have that pumpkin seam when you're all done, so it looks like a pumpkin and not just a big old ball of paper. And once you get that laid into place, just go back over it. You can go under that chunk of paper just a little bit with some, and then go right back over top of it and just keep working it down against the other piece so it holds nice and tight. Mod Podge is a super fun way to change the look of just about anything. When we bought our old farmhouse, there was one of the back bedrooms that has the old plaster and lath that was falling apart, and we took tissue paper and I just cut it into little pieces and Mod Podge tissue paper all over the entire wall, and then painted that, and I thought it had a pretty cool look to it. It worked to cover up a lot of the variants and wall and the different textures and stuff. It just, the more tissue paper I added, the more it covered it up and masked it, and I thought it turned out pretty good when it was done. So from there we'll just keep going on to the next chunk. I know they said yesterday was the first day of fall, but it sure didn't feel like it today. Went outside in a sweatshirt and had to come back in and change. It was really warm. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Wendy, and we live here in Iowa. Born in Minnesota, then we moved to Iowa when I was 2, I think. I've lived here ever since, but my parents went back to Minnesota and now our daughter is in Minnesota. And if my husband liked the cold weather, we'd probably be back in Minnesota too. Probably not anytime soon. After last winter, I'm not sure that I love the freezing cold myself. We had snow drifts well up over his head, and he's 6'3", so they were pretty sizable snow drifts last year. And there were some nights it got pretty cold. Again, if you guys do some of these projects, please feel free to share them with us. We'd love to see what you guys are making too. You can see along that seam where it's not quite sticking down, just keep working that in, and it will start to stick. As that paper gets a little more wet, it will lay down just a little bit better. You do want to use somewhat thicker paper. If you try to use a paper that's too thin, when you're putting the Mod Podge on, it can tear. It does tear pretty easily. Like if you're using old songbooks or something and you want to tear those up and put them on here. Oops. You want to just make sure maybe not to go over it quite as many times with that. Or pick a pumpkin that doesn't have glitter. Oops, we're going to change that. There we go. We'll get that white to lay over top, so that's what you see when you put it on there. And there again, you want to press it right down into the seams, and you can go right over, I forgot to do the back side of that piece of paper. You can go right over just about anything. Where there's this face on this pumpkin, just go right over that and it really won't affect anything. It'll cover it up nicely. We're getting the messiest pumpkin out of the way tonight. It does take a little bit to clean this up off a table, so if you have a nice wooden table or something, you want to maybe put a disposable tablecloth or something down so you can get it cleaned up easily. Right back to the beginning. That is all there is to it, guys. Pretty simple. On this one, because is only white on one side of where I tore it, you can take that piece and then tear the other side off of it also. If you want the white exposed on both on the very last piece. I'm going to set another one underneath there. I wouldn't double up too much where the dent comes in on the pumpkin, just so that you can keep that ridge. But on the higher points, go ahead and double up the paper and it really won't make too much difference at all. There's really no reason to leave all that excess on the bottom. If you tear all those pieces off and then come back around and maybe just do a single circle around the bottom and then put that one on. I've seen some really cute ones on Pinterest lately where they've taken leaves and Mod Podged them onto real pumpkins. Those are really cute. Simple way to add a little bit of color to a pumpkin, especially if you're going to have it sitting inside. They look like live flowers that they Mod Podged on, and they looked really cool when they're done. I'm not sure how they last, if they'd go into the next season or not, but they had kind of a cool look. Just get creative. Find things around the house that you love the color of or that match in your room and add them to your pumpkin. There again, just keep working where it doesn't stick, just keep working that down, and as that paper gets wet enough, it will lay down. You just got to work at it a little bit. Oops. Also, if you only do half at a time, you can dry it, sit it on its side nicely to dry. I'm going to set this one aside and then pull this little one out that we got at the Dollar Tree with the burlap in it and see how easily it comes apart. Just pull the stem out of it. And then take that burlap off all the way around. You could add different layers of burlap to that one, like some orange and dark brown burlap. That'd make that look kind of cool. You could Mod Podge that right onto it. But I wanted to do a pink one. I have been doing so much white and black lately that my sister said I should try some color, so we're gonna do color. I'll move this so you guys can see. And there again, we're gonna tear this into strips to start out, so we have all of our strips at the beginning, so we get that nice white line on one side all the way down. And actually on these I'm gonna go just a little bit thinner because the pumpkin is so much smaller. Another thing, when you're working with Mod Podge, you want to make sure you get your brush washed out right away if you're not going to use it again immediately. It dries really fast and it will ruin a brush pretty quickly. So paint you can usually get worked out of something, but the Mod Podge you can't quite so easily. I think we can about go in half on all of these, so we'll just tear all of these in half and that should make it all the way around the pumpkin. I'm gonna keep this sharp little edge right there because I like the way that'll come down and show. And then I'm gonna get this one torn right away. This will be our finishing piece where it's got two white edges. So this was just a foam pumpkin that I got at the dollar store, but you can get any pumpkins you've got that are dated or outdated or that you can find at the thrift store. We go junking every year, so people throw stuff out by the side of the curb and we pick it up. And pumpkins are a perfect thing. I haven't gotten any up to this point doing that, but I think I'll have to start keeping my eye out for pumpkins. The grooves are quite a bit deeper in this one, so it might be just a little bit trickier as we try to work that in. But eventually it works itself out. Go ahead and go over that next seam and then add your next piece. Overlap the white like that. I'm going to tuck it with my fingers into that crease just to get the paper creased a little bit. Also, anywhere where you get pools of this Mod Podge sitting in those pockets, just work that straight out so you don't end up with a big puddle of it. It usually dries pretty transparent, so you don't have to worry too much about it, but I'd hate to have a big bubble in there when you're all done of a different color. Nice part about this one is we've got a white pumpkin underneath, so if a little bit of that is exposed, it's not going to make too much difference. You do want to make sure you get that stuck down pretty well before you let it all dry, just so that you're not trying to fight it when it's hard later to come back and get it to lay down. If you do have that problem, you can always cut into those seams and then lay it over each other and Mod Podge it back down, but if you get it worked out before it dries, you won't have to worry about it when you get back to it. Any of this excess stuff, you don't have to worry about that. We'll just cut that off after it's dry. And we're gonna add some leaves or some ribbon at the top. It's a little bit of a messy project, but it might be a nice one to take out on the porch and do it with your kids outside. While it's still nice out, at least for a couple weeks. They say it's going to be a heavy winter, but a bad winter. But it hasn't been showing that yet. Alright guys, I think I'll go ahead and stop there and let that dry, and I will put some pictures down below when I get these all done in the comments, and when you guys try yours, share your pictures too. I'm going to show you a couple things that you can put on the top. We'll bring this guy back over. And if you can find some cute handles, knobs for like drawer pulls. Pier 1 was going out of business a long time ago, and I picked these up and I thought they would be adorable. Lots and lots of just sprays of fall stuff. I found these cute gold leaves, oh I don't know, last year probably at Hobby Lobby, and I thought it was really fun to add those to the top. You can put the handle on, or if you do the stick, once this is all dry and you get your hot glue gun out, then you want to hot glue these in and make sure that they stay, but for now I'm just going to kind of show you what they look like. So if you add a few of these leaves, hot glue them down so they stay in place, and then take a couple pieces of ribbon. The pattern in that paper has a really cute teal color, and I happen to have some teal ribbon, so I thought if we did the gold, a gold bow and a little white bow to bring out all the white in the tears of the paper. And then this blue ribbon, just to give it a little pop of color. There again, fold your ribbon in half and cut towards the center so you get that nice edge. I just have some white string here that I'm going to tie it all together with. This is a messy project. This is one where you need a little bit bigger workspace. Gonna take that ribbon, tie it down. And then that would go around your stick on the top of the pumpkin, so you can tie that around. And then I'd just go ahead and hot glue these two bows on there, along with the leaves. There we go. once glued together, they're cute little pumpkins, but just a change, so you can take some cheap little pumpkins that you find at the dollar store or at the thrift store and turn them into something just a little bit cuter. Thanks guys for joining me. Hope you have a great day.